So, if you guys haven't heard, Pokemon Go, which is a mobile game, has been sweeping the world. It's pretty viral, and if you've been on the internet lately, you know you've seen it. Everyone's been talking about it. There's been literally footage of people literally flooding cities to play this game. Basically, it's a game where you have your phone and it's literally just a camera, but then like Pokemon appear. So it kind of makes it so like the real world has Pokemon in a way, and you basically flick and catch them. And so it's been really blowing up. And I just really want to talk from a millennial standpoint of what this game means to me, because it means a lot to me. And I think a lot of people can relate. So when I was growing up, I was probably like huge into Pokemon. And it's funny because a lot of these people I'll meet, and everyone's playing it now. I won't mention that. But when I was little, I was like I had red version, blue version, silver, gold, all the classics, and I beat them all. And I was really into it. I probably put thousands of hours into this game, and Nintendo holds a special place in my heart. You know, lately it's been getting kind of weird with all these like renditions of classic games. You know, all the classics like Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, they've just been iterated on, and I haven't really been seeing a lot of original games. But now they've brought it back, and um, it really is incredibly special to me, this game, because when I played as a child, it was more so like an isolated thing. Like when I would go to school, um, everyone there, they didn't really play it, and it was classic American school. Um, I would say a very small minority of people played it, and that was always the case with video games. Like um, you would have hundreds of kids in your grade, and from probably all the way from elementary school all the way to high school, there's like a very small minority who played video games, and of that, like only a subsection played Nintendo games. So Pokemon was kind of just this thing where I played it with a small group of people at my school and a bunch of two or three Asian kids who were also really into the game and really introduced me to the game. And every day at church, that's what I would play, and we would battle, and we'd be really into it, and we'd trade, and I would beat all these games. I actually wrote a whole PowerPoint presentation to convince my parents to buy Crystal version because I wanted it so bad, but they were very averse to video games because they didn't think it was productive for school. So the point was, it was a very uh, niche thing, and it wasn't something that I could really, talk about to uh, girls, let alone hot, attractive girls. And now that it's become so mainstream, it's I really like it. And is it really mainstream? I mean, does every single person in the world play it? No, but so many people play it, and I think it really warms my heart to see this because um, it's like this is a cool thing now, and it's not just you know one of my deep passions that no one else really gets or connects with when they when I bring it up. And another one of my deep passions, anime and manga, it's also becoming mainstream in a way. Not really. I still feel that same kind of thing, but there's a lot of guys that just because I'm Asian, which I don't mind, they'll kind of like on the down low, they'll be like, "Hey, you watch any anime? You watch any manga?" And of course, I don't really care about race, so I'm just like, I do. And I've met quite a lot of very surprising people of all ethnicities, black, white, Hispanic, all these people, and it's almost 100% guys though, but all these people I would have never thought watch anime or manga, and they'll watch some of like my favorite mangas, One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, DBZ, the list goes on. So not only that, I think Pokemon Go not only brings something that used to be very niche and nerdy and something I really was interested in, but not a lot of people understood. but also it gets people out of their house and exercises. And is there any real downside to it? I mean, media loves to like make things bigger than they are, and they'll say like, oh, uh, tricksters and criminals are using this to lure people to rob them, and that might be true, but they usually blow that out of proportion. And I think generally it's a good thing. Like it gets people out of their house, and you get to catch Pokemon. Um, and I really don't think there's any downsides. It makes people exercise more, and we're seeing a lot of strangers who would never have met each other, start chatting and meeting each other because of this game. And it's I think it's a great tactical move. It's kind of just like Disney with Toy Story. Like every Toy Story movie, from the first one to the second one to the third one, it almost aligned exactly with how my life played out. I was Andy. I was Andy when I had that first toy, and I was Andy in Toy Story 3. And there was a few years off, but the general gist was the same when he went to college. And I think reminiscing with that nostalgia with the millennials, I think it's a really good thing. But it also introduces the new generation. But it doesn't just leave the generation who's been so passionate about this aside, like, oh, we're too old or anything like that. Because I want to be forever young, even though I know that's not going to happen. But I know in the on the inside, I will be forever young with stuff like Pokemon. And I think on the downside, I really don't think there's any big downside to this. I think it's great. It's really reminding me a lot about how excited I was about Pokemon back in the day when wireless wasn't really a thing, and we had to buy cables, which cost a lot, just to like trade Pokemon and battle. But that was just so fun for us. And then when it became wireless, our minds were blown. And then when the screen flipped, and then when there was touchscreen, our minds just kept getting blown. And I remember just spending so much time trading and training Pokemon and catching them, and then beating the game, and then getting a new version. And then, over the years I fell out of it because they just kept making new iterations. But now they've come back to something original. And I think they going back to the original 150 Pokemon, again, genius. But we've kind of seen this coming. And this isn't really a new concept. This whole idea of using the outdoors, like, it has been done. In fact, for Game Boy Advance, they had a video game that literally had a little piece to it that collected sun rays. And then basically the game functioned in a way where the more sun you got outside, the more power you would get in the game, and the more you could do in the game and fight in the game. But that game kind of flopped because they found that video gamers were lazy. But this game so far, it's done a decent job with getting people outside. But so far it's been like a 7-day or 14-day trend. Will it continue? And my answer is probably not. I think it's more so trendy. Like within a couple weeks, if not days, people will forget about this. I hope it's not true, but I think it is the case, and it's because there's been a lot of variations of these outdoor games that haven't really worked that well. There's Wii Fit as well, which has kind of worked, but not really. People have returned to resorting to sitting inside because they're lazy, because they like controllers. I, for one, will stay outside because I have really gotten into fitness and exercise, and I know how important it is to your success in life. But I don't know if the general public will. But so far, it's doing wonders. And I think the real big downside, and last thing I want to say, is that I personally think it's still in its very primitive state of technology. But the future holds so much potential. I really do think that within the next 10 to 20 years, virtual reality with what Facebook's doing, as well as 360-degree technology in terms of videos and photos, will merge together with Nintendo and Pokemon. And I hope, and I've been dreaming about this for years, I hope at one point I can go outside and it will literally be like I am riding this Gyarados and I'm literally standing on it while it is shooting huge gargantuan water at my friend next door who I'm battling, or just something crazy like that. I don't know how that will take place. Maybe it's Google Glass, maybe it's with Facebook's virtual reality gear, maybe it's something else. Will it ever happen? I don't know, but I think the future holds great things, and it's just so exciting. I mean, there was a time and place when humans, they didn't have time for this. They just had to, the only way to make money was to kill animals and eat them. And now we have all this entertainment and stuff that's a luxury. And I think the world's becoming a better place. You know, forget what the media says. There's a ton of bad stuff in the world, and that should be stopped. But I think, in general, the media blows it out of proportion to make it look like the world's getting worse and worse. But in reality, if you look at almost any metric, prosperity, transportation, entertainment, cost of living, plumbing, heating, poverty, disease, deaths, mortality, how long we live, we are getting better and better. And there's a great book called Abundance by Peter Diamandis that goes into detail about this. But thanks for watching Pokemon Go. Check it out for yourself. I've been kind of, iffy about it because the servers have been crashing like crazy. But check it out for yourself, and it's a fun game. And I think Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft, they are huge forces. Sorry, Sony, not PlayStation. They're huge forces right now, and they're very interesting companies, and I'm very interested to see where they will go, if they'll stick around, but I have no idea. But if they keep doing something awesome like this for the consumer, I think in the long run you're always going to do well. So keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for watching. Peace.